Hey guys, so right now we are only one participant, Neeraj. Right? So we'll wait for others to join and then we'll start the session. Okay? Neeraj, if you have any query, you can ask me. Any queries? Excuse me. Okay, so today we are going to, this is our last lecture actually, right? So uh, I'll show you how to create a batch file and via that how you can integrate it in Python and how you can basically create small code snippets for yourself that you can run and that can do different tasks, right? Okay. And after that, we're going to see very simple a Python framework, right? A web application framework. Somebody had asked me to show. That will be all. Okay. I'll show you Flask, right? How to work with Flask. Okay. So still we have no other participants. Okay, so we are simply waiting for uh, this. Okay, we'll start in 3 minutes. Okay, it is not showing or anyways, we're going to start in 3 minutes. Excuse me. Okay, uh, have you guys created this code? So I'm going to share this again. Right? Okay, have this code, guys. Okay, now we're going to create a batch script file for this, and we're going to link this code. Okay, so in that case, what is going to happen is when we'll double click that bash script file, it's going to execute this code. Okay, now have this code with you. Then I'll tell you what to do next. Okay. So there are a few things that I'm going to change in this file. Right. First, let's introduce a location variable, right? Where you can find out the location. I'm going to ask for user to input the location of the file, right? Um, Kindly provide the file name with location. Okay. That is going to solve one of the purpose, right? That is you're getting a location. Anyways, you'll have to open it. File object equals to open uh, location. Okay. So that is one thing that you need to change. Good. Can you do these changes, guys? Now, what is the type of this particular content that you're getting in the file? It depends on the file, right? Though mostly the content is in string, but a lot of time the content is also in a byte code format, right? Okay, and that is something that you don't want, right? Or say sometimes the content is in say you're going to read an image, it could happen. Okay, now when I'm asking to enter file, it could be any file, right? I'm not giving the hard-coded path. Right? It's an open path that you can upload any file. Right, so let's put a criteria here that if and only if, right, type of x is equal to string, then only I'm going to work with this. Right, then only I'll be able to do a lot of different tasks like this one. Everything changes then. So, okay, so that will cover our one of the very important aspect. That is, if the content is not a string, then we are not going to perform any of the operation. Okay, this is for the content if the content is string. Okay, I'm going to create a pastebin for this, right? Because if I paste it in the chat box, it might you might lose the structure. Okay, the indentation or the inner blocks. Now, can we try out this code, guys, and see? when you run this, you'll have to provide the path of the complete location where your file is. Okay, this is the file in my case. No, not this one. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is when I execute this code, I'll have to provide the file location here. Okay. Uh, so this is the complete path. Go like this, and file name is going to be cl.txt. Now there could be two things. Like, okay, either it's going to recognize this path. See, if you remember, whenever we give a path to a file, we have to follow a certain rule, right? Because your normal string cannot be understood by Python as a file. So either you write R in front of it to make it raw string, or you provide double backslash, right? Okay. But when you're dealing with file in such scenario, you don't have to provide the double backslash. See here, I only provided the file path. Now, I can provide any file path in this way. Right? All I have to do is I'll have to run this code. Now, this does not solve the purpose that how to make it easier for us to run this code, right? Every time I'm not going to open a spider and I'm not going to run a play button to do this calculation, right? That does not solve our issues, right? That does not save time. Okay, when you talk about automating your task or making your task easier, right? It also comes under that, right? That you don't have to run it in a longer way, right? There should be a shorter way of executing this. Okay, and that shorter way of executing it is what we call batch scripts. Okay, batch scripts. You can create those scripts, and you can basically you can create those files. In those files, you can give the path of these files, and then you can execute it only on double click. Okay, you don't have to follow all those things, right? Try it out, and then we'll move to creating batch script for this. Now, if you are able to read a file for text or anything, you can read anything from this file actually. It could be any of your file. It could be a log file from where you want to read the logs. Okay, you'll have to simply filter those logs using the regular expression, okay, and then you can perform your task like this. Okay, let me know once you are done with this. Okay, you'll have to connect. So what you need to do is in the text file simply write some numbers in different lines. Okay, and this particular code will be able to do the summation of those numbers. Okay. Now, if you want to, you can print the type here. Just to check, though the type has been confirmed, so you don't have to check it again. Right? Okay. If the content was not in string, then it wouldn't have been executing this part of the code. Otherwise, it would have printed this. Done, guys? Okay, any queries you have regarding this? So, any query you have, Prashant, Neeraj? Nothing? Okay, so let's create a batch file for this. So I'm going to create the file in the same location, right? That my other files are. You can create it anywhere you want. Right? Simply right click and create a notepad. Right? Open a notepad, create a text file, name it as uh, my calc. Okay. Now, first thing that you write in a batch file is echo on, and the last thing we are going to write is pause. So, batch script is something that you can run on any of the platform. Even on Linux, you can run it. In Linux, also you can create these files. Okay. Uh, so right now we are simply giving the name as mykel.text, but we are going to change this extension from .txt to .bat. Right, that is the extension for your batch file. Okay. Now, uh, echo on is going to start it, pause is going to pause it, and in between will come all the part which is important. Right. First thing that you need to do is you need to set the path of the Python. So what I'm going to write is set path. Okay, and path is represented like this always. Right, now will come the complete path of your Python. Now, uh, do you guys have installed normal Python? I think you all have installed the Anaconda, right? Okay, so open the Anaconda's path. Usually, your Anaconda is also in app data. See users, look for app data. Okay, open this and let me know. Okay, open Anaconda prompt. Okay, open the folder. Also open the Anaconda prompt. Type where Python. You simply have to type where Python. Okay, in Anaconda prompt, and it will go. It's going to show you the location. Got it? Okay, now go to that location. Local continuum Anaconda. Right, and copy this location, guys. See, normally I've never tried this thing on Anaconda. I usually give the path for uh, your code distribution of Python. Let's see, that should work out because this also contains all the Python code, Python required files. So copy this location. I'm going to paste it here. Okay, and I'm going to paste or provide the path. Basically, I'm going to provide what command I want to be executed in uh, the next line. See, first you set the path of the Python. Let's see if it's going to work or not. I've never tried this with Anaconda, but let's see. Uh, After this, we are going to execute or we are going to write what we want to execute on terminal. Right, that is Python space. What is the file name? Is okay. I'll have to save the file first. Um, let's call it calculator. Okay, I will save it as calculator. Yeah. So you have calculator. Top pi. Right? Kindly do this. Okay. So echo on path of your Python, then file that you want to run. Right? This is the command that you give in your terminal if you want to run a particular Python file. Okay, and then pause. Save it. Do save as, guys, and change the extension to BAT. Right? So that is your mycal.bat. Okay, when you double click this, it's going to simply skip all the process where you had to open the either terminal or spider and execute the Python code. Right? Everything will be skipped, and this is actually working. So I'm going to give this path slash the text file, my cal.text. Okay, it is cal.text. And yes, it is performing the calculation. Now, if you press any key to continue, it's going to close it. Okay. So yeah, try it out. So this is how you can actually create small scripts, and you can keep them handy for executing your task. You could edit this with Notepad. See, this is how it's going to look in Notepad++. Okay, I go on. Then it ends with pause, and in between you have all the things that you wanted to do. Right. So similar way, you can create different Python codes, and you can write it like this. So you see a lot of developers doing such thing that okay, say I've seen this being done by the testers, for example, who are into testing and both automated and manual testing. What they do is they they work a lot on Python, and they have to run some of the test cases or some of the scripts. So what they do is they create such batch files, and then they run it, and they provide the file name, and all the testing will be performed on that. So it depends on what you are going to achieve, and that you can write in this particular Python file, and then you can run it. Okay. But if you want to run it on any of a machine, then that machine should have the Python installed on this path, right? Your path changes. Okay. So if you want to run the same file on Linux, then the path won't match there. Okay. If you want to run the same command in your friend system, then uh, you have to change the path. Good. Good. So I'm copying and pasting this, and you can try it out. Uh, both batch file and file should be in the same. So for every file, there will be a separate batch file. Yes, yes. Of course, you'll have to create a separate batch file for separate code. Yes, that is what I suggest. Separate batch file for separate Python code or Python file. Now, if you don't want to keep your batch file here, you want to keep it somewhere else, and you want to call this Python code from somewhere else, then all you need to do is you need to change this location. Since right now I'm okay with giving the path, I'm okay with giving the name of the file, right? That is calculator.py, because they both are in the same location, right? My batch file and my Python file are in the same location. What if my batch file, what if I want to keep my all the batch file in one folder on say a desktop, and my Python codes are in different locations? So in that case, you'll have to give the proper path of the Python file. Right? I'll give an example. Open Anaconda prompt, guys. Right now, if you wanted to run this calculator.py using your Anaconda prompt only, how are you going to do that? You'll have to go to this location first. right? CD, and let me show you by dir. Dir is going to uh, provide all the files and folders or directories which are there inside it. So there are no directories. We only have files. So you can see that calculator.py. Now, whenever you want to run a particular Python file using a terminal or command prompt, right, or anaconda prompt, what you do is you have to write it like this: Python space the file name. Okay, this is how we are working actually. Okay, now if I wanted to run this Python calculator file from say a location, uh, let me open anaconda prompt again. Hmm, just a second. Okay, if I want to run this Python file from this location, I would have written like this: Python space the complete path, because I'm not sure about, because right now I'm in what path? Right now I am in C users Vidhan, and this particular calculator.py file is in this location. Right, so I'll have to give the complete path with file name slash py. Just a sec. Uh, okay, try it out. I'll tell you. Okay, check this out. I'll tell you how to solve this issue. Done. You might have to change the path. Okay, for now, you might have to done it from the same location. Okay, so you're getting it, Prashant? Any issues here? I'm missing something. Okay, I'll let you know. Okay, I'm missing something here, like some path or something. Okay, so that is how you create a bash script. Okay, okay, you have. Okay, no worries. Go ahead, guys. Now, basically, this is how you work with regular expression. Okay, any queries you have, you can ask me. Any queries, guys? So basically, all the code that you have created, right, you can simply put it in the batch script, right, and you can double click and you can execute it. Okay, and that is going to save you a lot of time. Okay, now that ends are actually the normal course content that we had. Okay, yeah, this was the last topic for this. Okay, now we are going to move to something that somebody had asked, right? The framework. So I'm going to show you a bit about the Flask, right? So that you can kickstart on Flask. Okay. Yes, Neeraj. Okay, can you tell me the structure of the switch IP? See again, it must be saved in some file. Right, so it must be saved in some file. Okay, some log file. What you can do is you can give the path of that log file. Okay, with CIDR, right? Okay, so this is a structure that you want to read. Like that is your what? Subnet is 255.255.255.0, right? That is what this 24 means, right? That is your CIDR prefix. Okay. Now, if you want to say automate this, what you can do is which operating system you're basically working on. You work on Linux for doing this task, or you work on Windows for doing this task. Okay. So what you can do is many times we can also do something that we can start our Python code as a service on your system. So it is going to run in the background, right? Uh, so you can basically make your Python code run as a service on your Windows, right? So every time that service is running in the background, okay, and it's going to do the task that you have asked it to do, right? So that, say, for example, you are reading it a particular file. Let's say that it's called file.txt, where all your data or your logging is happening. Okay, and you want to read it from this file, right? For line in file, okay, you can read it, or you can perform regular expression, whatever you want to do with this. There you can uh, print line. It is going to show you all the things, okay? Or you can simply do this regular expression kind of thing. X equals to re dot find all, where you get the pattern and the file and the content. Okay, that is for the reading part. Okay, you understand how to read this? Now, if you want to automate this, right, let me share one of the library. Yes, Neeraj. Yes, Neeraj.
Yeah, Vidhan, so what I wanted to do, like we have multiple switches in the environment. So
Okay.
basically, I wanted to log into each and every switches which is belongs to this subnet. Like we have one switch with IP 10.12.7.1, 7.2, 7.3 kind of things. So we wanted to
Mm-hmm.
log in all those switches in a one attempt. Like manually we cannot do that, right? But like, manually we do not want to do that. So we wanted to log
Uh-huh.
in all the features which is in this subnet in a one shot.
Okay. You wanted to
So
read
how
all the
we can do
switches.
that? Then yeah, so all the features. There is no log files because we cannot keep pushing the log files for each and every time. So like for doing that also we have to log into the switch and then capture the log, which is the
Okay, you don't
again a
you
manual
don't want to
process.
go to the log file. You simply want to read it directly from the search, right?
Switch, yeah. Yeah. So
So
there is one
we
option
see.
like I can directly log into the switch.
Yeah.
What are all switches that belongs to this subnet? There is one
Mm-hmm.
thing which we can automate, and secondary is like there is multiple MAC addresses learned inside that switch. A MAC table will be there. So I wanted to fetch that data also, like how we can fetch how many MAC addresses are there present in that switch. So that is the,
Uh-huh.
the second thing.
See, basically the task that you're talking about, right? That comes under the complete network automation, right? That can be achieved using these three libraries in Python. Right? Python has these three specific libraries for automating this your complete network task. Right? Your switches or your routers, you can read all of those things. There are three libraries which are used for this: Nepam, NetMiko, and Paramiko. Okay. See, explaining all those things here will be a very long thing to do, right? Because it itself is a huge structure, networking and all those things, right? But yeah, these libraries is something that you can use to automate your the task, which is directly reading from the switch, right? The task that I am telling you is that if you have a log file, then you can read from here. But what you're talking about is completely a different thing, which requires you to have the direct connectivity with the switches and all. Right? And for that, we have these libraries. Nepam is there, NetMiko is there, and Paramiko. Okay. So I'll share the resources with you, right, for this, and I'll share a few codes with you also, right, through which you can do that. Okay, will that work? I'll do that, Neeraj. Okay. Again, guys, this is a huge structure, right? Complete network automation. Okay. But yeah, Neeraj, I'm going to keep your email ID and I'll share it with the support team, and support team is going to forward it to you. Okay. Right, guys. So that is how you work with the regular expression. Now, The thing that I'm going to tell you is Flask. Okay. Okay, guys. So somebody had asked me to uh, that they wanted to kickstart or understand Flask or want to work with that. So I'm just going to give you an introduction so that we can start with this. So Flask. See, one of the strength of Python is scripting. Right, scripting. When you say scripting, that means that can make your task easier, a bigger task into a smaller form, or it can automate things. Right, and scripting is a term that we use a lot on the server side. Right, when you have a server in client server architecture, you being client, your laptop, your mobile, all of these are client, and then you have server, right, which will be serving you with different requests and responses. Right, that is your client server architecture. Now, in that structure, what we have is on the server, we make millions and billions of requests per day. Right? Whether you talk about Facebook as a server, you talk about YouTube as a server, and every time they respond with a certain answer. Right? Okay, and these answers are uh, not predefined, but they are executed in a way. The execution is predefined, and that predefined execution is handled by your scripting languages. So on server, you'll find the scripting languages like you have PHP, right, which is used on the server end. You have Java, which is used on the server end. You have Python, which is used on server end. Apart from that, any other famous language you know? You have Node.js, which we use on server end. Right? So these are the four most famous languages that we use on the server end. Right? Okay. Now, PHP has different frameworks. Right? So basically, when you want to start coding on the server, right, on the you can say that, let's say for the example website, right? Then the things that you require are these. For website coding, you need to have a front end. Front end is handled in HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Then you have backend. Backend is basically your scripting uh, language and your database. Let's say MySQL, right? And your scripting language is one of the above. Okay, so these are the things. Now, so let's say that if I wanted to create a website in PHP, so I'll have to create a front end, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, then I'll have to, let's say that using that I created a login page, right, in which I'm giving the value, user ID and password, and on the click button, that value should be going into the MySQL database. Now that, what is going to happen on that button click is handled by your scripting language, right? Okay, that is predefined code. Okay, so front end everything, HTML provides you the structure, CSS gives you the beautiful view, all those things. JavaScript gives you the functionality, right? And then when you functionality or more features. So when you click on the button, everything that is happening behind the scenes is handled by a scripting language, right? Now, this task becomes a bit tedious if you are going to start it from the scratch. So a lot of developers came with a lot of different frameworks for handling these tasks, right? Say, for example, in PHP, you'll find frameworks which makes your life easier, like WordPress and Joomla. In Java also, we have such frameworks, and we find out what frameworks we have. In Python, we have frameworks. We have Django, and we have Flask. Right now, Django and Flask are web application frameworks, right? Because we create web application using this. Say, for example, you'll see that a lot of websites are created on WordPress, right? A lot of websites previously were created on Joomla, right? Okay, now they all looked with the same front end, that is HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and backend. Everything was simpler for you, right? Things were simplified for us. Similarly, your Python has also come up with the framework, which are Django and Flask. Now, Django is a bigger framework. Flask is what we call micro framework. Right? It's a smaller framework. Okay, let's see Flask. See, so first it was released in 2010. Hey, it's a micro web framework which is written in Python. So we will open this. Yeah, you can explore this. Now, any one of you who has ever tried doing or creating a website, any one of you, have you tried creating a website? So when you create a website, guys, you don't simply create it on the server. No, no. What you do is you test it on your laptop, and for that you create a local host or a local server, right? Okay, and for that local server in PHP we use XMPP, right? Or we use WAMP, right? That provides you an Apache-based local server, right? Okay. Now, similarly, in Flask also we have such server, and that server is what we call Workzook. Right? Workzook is the server, or we call it WSGI basically. Okay, I'm not good with the this acronyms. Basically, I think it's web server gateway interface, but still we should check. Yeah, web server gateway interface, right, is what Workzook is, right? Okay, it was adopted for Python web development. Okay, now it has universal specification which helps you out in uploading your website. Once you are tested on the server, which is Workzook server, you can upload it on any of the server. It will work perfectly. Okay, right now, what Workzook server does is, or WSGI, I should call it, gateway interface, is basically it provides you a way to do the request and the response, right? So all the requesting and the responses is handled using this server. Okay. Now that is one thing that you have in Python. So the server that you have, a local host, is your Workzook local host. The next thing is that um, when you work with Python, right, the most difficult part is handling the templates or handling the HTML. Okay, let's see a code. Okay, we might have to install Flask for this, guys. So open Anaconda terminal, Anaconda prompt. Okay, let me check if this is the exit for Flask. Yeah, pip install Flask is what we F capital, guys. Okay, do pip install Flask with F capital. Excuse me, and also do pip install Flask with F lowercase. Okay, because they both are directing to the same location, so that does not matter. Okay, F with uppercase or lowercase doesn't matter because they both are directing to the same location. Okay, so you need to install the Flask. I have opened one of the PPT for this. Yeah, now you can see this. Okay, I'll have to compile all the PPTs, guys. So that's why I've not shared the code also. So it was developed by Armin Renacher, right? Specific tools called as micro framework because it does not have specific tools and libraries. It does not have a data abstraction layer. It does not provide you form validation. Now, when I say form validation, then all the fields and then cross-checking those fields. Flask is based on POCO project, right, which has two parts: Workzook Web Server Gateway Interface Toolkit and Jinja 2 template. We'll come to Jinja 2 template. Okay, yeah, this is a sample small code. Okay, I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste this. Mm, excuse me. Right, so what I'm doing here from Flask, I'm putting Flask. Now, the first line, guys, is okay. Let me explain you line by line what is happening here. Okay, and meanwhile, I'm going to copy and paste it in the chat box also. Okay. So first line you understand that simply we are importing Flask. Second line is basically your what we call is Flask. Um, what Flask takes is Flask takes name of the current module as an argument, right? Flask as an application takes name of the current module as an argument, right? That is what it does. Okay, it's kind of a uh, it's a constructor basically, right? It's a Flask constructor you can call it. Okay, that is what your first line is doing. Now second line, which is at the rate app.root root or route with under the parenthesis forward slash, right? Okay, it basically provides you the URL. Okay, that is your URL bounded with the hello world function that is returned beneath it. Okay, so this basically provides you the URL bounded with this function. Now this function, now we have created a function. Now this is a function that is going to be returned, right? This is returning nothing, just hello world. Right? So this is a very simple application, which is hello world. Okay. Now lastly, we have if name equals to main, right? You remember this? We have done this in modules, and in that case, what you are going to do? We are running this application, Flask as an application. That's it. Save this. Now do not name it as Flask, okay guys, because if you name the file as the module, then your code is going to import itself, will try to import itself, right? So do not name it as flask.py. Never do that. Okay, so I'm going to name it as flask underscore ex dot py. Okay, now I'm going to run this. Oh, okay, that is the problem with copy and paste. Okay, so when we do copy and paste, see what has happened. These characters were not string characters, right? So I have to change it. See again, same thing. Okay, guys, kindly, when you copy and paste something in Python, these things happen. So I'll suggest you to change such things. Okay, so you can see that here the server is started, right? And read this, kindly execute this and see this. See, it's a very simple to work with Flask actually, right? And this is the basics that I'm talking about, okay? So we executed the course. After some time, your server started, right? And server is running at this location. So copy this location. Okay. I'll prefer running it using command prompt, anaconda prompt. Okay. I'll prefer running it using anaconda prompt base. That is what I'm going to do. Okay. This is a better way of running this. Instead of running it on Spider, I'll suggest you to run this on this. Okay. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it here. Now, this is a server. You can see that it returned us hello world. Just a simple example of how it works. Okay, got it? Let me know. This is how it's going to look like. Okay. Check this out, guys. And execute this and let me know. Excuse me. Now, what you can do here, one thing to make it debuggable, you can simply write debug equals to true, right? And reload this. Now you can see that here debug mode was off. Now debug mode is on. Okay. So basically, you don't have to load the code again and again, right? If you made some changes here, say for example, if I do the changes instead of hello, Vidhan, you see that the changes will be acknowledged by this. Like, I'll show you a very simple application that I had created. Touch card. Just a second. Yeah. Okay. So it got restarted with the new things. Okay. Got this? So it's very simple now. You can pass some of the uh, you can actually build a dynamic URL with this. Right. Let's see how to build a dynamic URL. Okay. So I'm going to comment this. I'm going to copy this because we'll be using some part of the code again. Okay. Let's see that URL has hello slash uh, name slash okay. Let's say data slash. Uh, so we are going to pass some value. That value is going to be name. Right. So what we're going to do here is that this is a URL, right? That you're going to pass, and that URL is going to be uh, slash data slash a value that we're going to pass. and that is something which you are going to pass through our function. Right? These two things are matching, right? Name under greater than or less than sign, and your function's value are matching. Return hello plus. That will be the complete path. Like, try it out. I did hello Vidhan. I can do hello, say Neeraj. Right. So that is kind of a dynamic things which is happening here. Okay. So it's quite simple to work with this actually. Okay. So same thing. Trust me, guys. I've worked with WordPress and Joomla also. Right? It's not that easy. As in, it's easier to work with this. Okay. Try it out. Okay, I'm going to copy and paste this. So you can basically pass multiple values actually, not one, but multiple. Now, what if I wanted to print an HTTP page? Right? That is something that I would want to do, right? Printing an HTTP page. Okay? Sorry, HTML page, not HTTP. That is something that also you can do. Okay, you can pass on an HTML page to this. Now, how are you going to do that? Okay, okay guys, got it? Any queries here? Okay, now I'm simply printing the strings, right? Let's say that I wanted to have an HTML page, right? How am I going to do that? I'm going to change few things here. I don't want to pass some value here. I'll have it as index. Right? Normally, we prefer to name it as index, right? Now, in return, now instead of the text that we are printing, what we want is we want an HTML page. This is how you can do it. Now, this is the clumsiest way of doing this, right? But yeah, we can do it like this. That is HTML tag open, HTML tag closed. I can have title, I can have body here. The title will come under head, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. So we have two tags here. We have one parent tag, which is HTML. Then we have head tag, tag open, tag close, and under that we have title, and then head. After head, see, after your head comes your body, right? Similarly, here also we have body tag, and the body which have uh, H1. That is basically for, you can call it a headline or because. Okay, I'm going to share this. Let's see this first. So you can see that this is the title, my page, and this is the body. Hello, guys. So you can do something like this, but this is not a good way of coding in anywhere, right? Because if you are keep on going to pass your HTML page as a string, right? Then you will not be able to introduce some features like JavaScript features or form validation features, or it will become very difficult for rendering these images or these things in Python, right? So that is one of the very big issue that we had regarding uh, Python framework, right? And to solve this issue, right? Okay, okay, Notepad will do. So basically, this is your HTML, right? Okay, this is how it looks like. So you have parent tag, which is HTML. HTML tag opens like this, closes like this with with forward slash. Then it is divided into two parts. One is head, other one is body. Head is basically your title, right? My page. Body is your this H1, H2, whatever you want to do, a paragraph or division or anything that you want to do. Okay. Now this is not a preferred way. Okay, because it's not a optimized way. It is very difficult to manage things when you are presenting it as a string. See, we are presenting it as a string. Okay. So to solve this issue, we or the developers of Flask, they came up with Jinja 2 template. That there comes your Jinja 2 template, right? Which is basically a template engine. Okay, what it does is basically you don't have to pass now HTML page as a string. Now you can create a different link for that. Okay, that is what we need to do now. Okay, so that will help us out in performing a task like looping through the data, or right, we can do that. Okay, in HTML, basically using this. So here your Jinja 2 template comes into the picture. So now we don't have to return the hard-coded HTML. Okay, let's create a simple template. Okay, we're going to create a simple Jinja template. For this, create a folder here, name it as template. Kindly do that. Create a folder, name it as template. Okay. So your Flask always tries to find out your HTML pages in the folder which is template. Now in this template folder, we are going to create HTML page. Okay. Let me know once you're done with this. Okay, name it as a template or templates. Like we'll have to check this. Okay, singular or plural. Okay, else is plural. Now create a file here. You can name it as anything you want. So what should be the name that we should be giving this file, please? Anyone? You can actually give any name that you want. We will name it as 1.txt. Now, extension is something that we want to change, right? After we write our code here. Okay. So extension is something that we are surely going to change from .txt to .html. Okay, I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste this here. And one more thing I'm going to introduce here is the doc type. So that your OS knows that this documentation is HTML. Now I'm going to save this as .html, HTML or HTM shortly. When I double click this page, then this is what it should be showing, like your HTML page. Oh, my bad. Now, in the coding part, I'm going to change few things. Now, we are not hard coding it, right? So it has to be included. Okay, so I'm going to comment this again, guys. Now, in import, we have to get the render template. Right, so I'm going to get the render template. Right, that is something that you have to import. Apart from that, anything that you need to change? In here, the returning part is again your render template, and what we are returning, uh, file, which is 1.html. Uh, one or whatever name we gave it to it, yeah, 1.html. Okay, let me check if everything's working fine or not. Okay. Uh, yeah, I'm going to edit this node HTML once. Otherwise, this is here. That changes should be okay. Normally, your workzook when it is debug is on works it by itself, but in my case, I don't know why it's not showing, but yeah, it should. Let me refresh this, and you can see that. Hello, guys, this is Viran here. So that solves a lot of issues here, right? In the coding, when you talk about HTML integration. Right? Now, instead of me hard coding the HTML page, and simply using an import which is render template, which is Jinja 2 template engine. And with the help of that, I'm simply calling the one.html page. That's it. Okay. Now you can pass the values to it too. Any queries here, guys? Now, does it is it difficult or is it easy? Like, how do you find it working with Flask? I think it's one of the easiest framework to work with, or comparing with all the frameworks, even in Java also. And I'll show you one more code or two more things, and then we will be done with Flask, with the basics of the Flask. Okay. Now there are a few things that you have to make sure. One, the HTML pages stays inside the templates folder. Okay, that is something that you'll have to make sure of. Two, uh, when you run this, then it's going to open it with a particular address, and this is the address for your local host, right? That is, you're trying it on your system, right? Now, if you are doing it on the server, then this local host would not have been local host. Would have been your IP address or your website's address, right? And it would have printed you that part. Okay. Good. Any queries here? Now, what if you wanted to pass some data to it? Okay, you can do that. You can pass the data also. Try it out and let me know, guys. Okay, guys, are you trying this? Neeraj, Suresh, Dharmesh. Okay, let me know once you are done with this. Then I'll tell you how to pass the value to it, and then I'll show you one of the application that I created just to give you an idea of how to work with these things. Okay, I'll show you a map application. Yeah, okay. That will be good. Okay, using or I'll show you how to render a map using this. That will, I think, you'll find it interesting. No worries, Amish. I can see you that you are connecting and disconnecting. So, yeah, I figured that out that you have some issue with your laptop. No worries. You can try it out. It's easy actually. It's not that difficult. No worries. The things that I'm telling you, for example, Flask, is actually easy to work with. Sure, sure, Ganesh. Okay. Okay. I'm sharing all the codes, guys. Right. Let me share all the codes via PaySpell. Parts are commented. Okay. Now, what if you wanted to pass the data to it, right? Okay. So there are a few things that you need to change. Okay. See this, Amish. You can try it out when we go for the break, right? Now, here I'm going to change few things. Uh, this is now here I'm going to pass this value, that is name, from the uh, Python, right? This is HTML. I'm going to pass the value. Now, this is how you do it, right? For passing the value, you write it like this, and let's add that the variable name is name, right? The variable name of the variable is name itself. Okay, it's just a variable name. Okay, you can call it a name or anything that you want to call. Now, these are what we call uh, basically delimiters, right? These are special delimiters that we use in um, HTML, that we use in Flask for HTML, right? You have percentage, you have this curly brackets, right? You have hash. Right? Hash is again same as commenting. This curly brackets are for uh, getting the value. This percentage is something that you want to pass a statement, right? That we don't need to do, right? We are talking about the basics here. Okay, so I've changed this thing here. Now I'm going to share this HTML code also. Right now in Python code, I'm going to incorporate these changes. So I'm going to copy this and I will comment this. Now here we are going to change few things. Say I'm going to pass the user value. User is going to pass the value, and that value is going to be taken into the function, and then I'm going to equate name to user, so that when this value goes to your one.html, then one.html understand that the user, the value user, which is coming from this function, is going to be assigned to this name. That is what is going to happen. Let's see this once. Name it as Maximus. Right. So now we are passing this value. Printing. Okay. See, we have done a little changes in the code. So you can basically pass the values. Okay, let's see an example of a statement. Okay, that you might find interesting, where you are asking for user to enter his score, right? And where we are printing, if the score is greater than 50, then we are going to print you have passed, or greater than 90 or 30, we'll print that okay you have passed, or else we are going to print you have failed. Okay, something like this. Okay, how do you incorporate if in this? Right? I think that will be the match that we can talk about. Well, try it out. Let's have a break, and after that, we'll see one of the example on this. Okay, and we'll see something more which might be useful for you. Okay. Okay, so it's a break. Any queries you have before going for the break? It's a break, guys. Okay, guys, any queries you have, you can ask me. Have you tried this? Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to introduce some calculation or some, you can see that, operations on this, right? Now, I'm going to show you an example where you can use something like JavaScript if you want to. First, write out. Have you tried this, guys? Any queries? Okay, then we should move on. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to introduce some of the variables here. Okay, so I'm going to copy this and I'm going to comment this. Instead of this, let's say I want to introduce an integer, right? You can define it like this. Say whatever score you have created or you have got, you can tell that, right? With like this. Okay, let's see. Now, here I'm introducing a score, right? So here obviously it will change into score. Now I'm able to, or we can define that data type, right? Int or any of a data type, you can define it like this: data type, column, and the variable. Okay. Now here is going to go to this one.html, right? And name. Let's change this. Okay, I'm going to name it, call it as marks equal to score. Okay. So we need to change this marks into HTML. So go back to HTML code. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's create another HTML file. Okay, so that it's less confusing. I'll name it as marking dot HTML. Okay. Same thing we'll have to tell here that okay, HTML file has changed. Right? Which HTML file you want to render, basically. Okay. Now here uh, I'm going to change it. Marks calculation. Basically, not it's not calculation, but yeah, we can do like this. Now, inside the body, I'm going to change few things. Like first thing first, I'm going to do is we are going to introduce an if, right? How you can do that with the help of percentage. Okay, if marks is greater than say uh, 35, right? Normally we have 35 marks range. Right? Less than 35 is fail, more than 35 is pass. Okay, if marks is greater than 35, then what do you want to do? We are going to print, or we want to show which one? Uh, your result is pass. And then we can have else. Else also looks like this only, guys. Now this is very specific to uh, your Flask. Okay, the result is fail, and we'll have to end this also. So for that we write end if. If marks is greater than 35, your result is okay. This percentage is not 35 percentage. Okay, do not get confused with this. I'm going to copy and paste this. So marks is the variable here. Let's see. Result is pass. If I give 32, your result is fail. If I give 34, your result is fail. If I give 35, your result is fail. If I give 36, you are pass. Okay, quite simple, right, guys? So that is how you basically work in Flask. It's quite interesting and quite easy. Uh, I think that is going to help you out. You can add it, or you can basically add it to your skill set that you know Flask, or the basics of the Flask. Okay, so that completes your basics of the Flask. Okay, there's one of the example that I would like to show you. For that, I'll have to pause my screen because I have to search for that example. Uh, copy, document. Okay, so I had created a Flask code, right, where I use a certain API for map. Right, so this is the Flask code. Now you'll find that okay, this might look confusing, guys, but it's quite easy actually. Okay, let me open two codes here. Both are Flask codes. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm using an API from uh, from a company's API that I was trying. Right. See, when you talk about mapping maps, then you must have heard about Google Maps. But apart from Google Maps, there are a lot of different companies also. For example, there is a company called Here.com, Here Technologies, okay, which provides you the map solution. So what I did is I got the app ID and app code. Right? You can also get it. Okay, from where did I get it? Yeah, from here. Okay, you can get this app ID and app code from here. Right? You can get it from the freemium account that I created on this. Okay, simply click on get started for free, and it's going to take you to the freemium account, and from there you'll get this API. Okay, let me check if I have this. I think I have this somewhere. Okay, just give me a second, guys. Okay, there are a lot of different things involved here. Okay, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for my credentials for this account. Right, I think I've saved it somewhere. Okay, I found it. Okay, I'm going to log into it. So where is my project? Okay. So this was the API that I'm using here, right? And this is the app ID and app code that got generated. So it's quite easy to do that with this, right? Okay, so I'm using this app ID and app code, which is going to be differentiating me from others, right? Okay, so this is what I'm doing here. App ID and app code, I got it from here, right? This is the API URL, that is JSON. These are the parameters that I have to pass to the server, and that is the app ID, app code, and search text. Right? I can search different cities. Okay, we'll be doing that. Okay, then we have to do a request, get URL, and we have to pass the parameters. Okay, the data that you're going to get is in JSON, right? And the response that you're going to get, right? Whatever response I'm getting, I'm taking out latitude and longitude from that response. See, what I did was basically I'm searching for this location, right? This location request will go to this particular URL with the parameters, and this is going to give us a response in the form of JSON. And from that JSON response, I'm simply taking out latitude and longitude, right? The values. Okay. See, this is not Flask till now. Okay. This is simple your API calling and taking out the values. After that, what I'm doing here is I am calling a Flask where I've created a map function where I'm rendering a template. That template is map.html. And in that template, I'm passing these values, like app ID, app code, latitude, and longitude. Okay, that's it. Now, let me show you map.html. Now, map.html has certain JavaScript parts, right? But the one that you should be looking at is under the script. Right? That is basically a JavaScript. Now here I'm passing the app ID, app code, I'm passing the, basically I'm creating a map, and here I am defined the zoom level as 10 and center point as this latitude and longitude, right? This is Flask. Okay. Let's run this code. No, no. Okay, just give me a sec. Flask underscore here. Now we are starting the server and the location is same. Okay, so I'm going to simply delete this and enter this. Now you can see that what you can do with the help of Flask. Right. So I'm simply presenting the location now. If I wanted to change this, I'd have to go to the code and I will change it to this code. Say right now I'm based out of Vadodara. I can change it like this. And you can see that it restarted. I'll simply have to refresh it. It's taking me to Vadodara. Okay. So that is how you can work with Flask. Okay, there's another code. I think that is a better version of this. Yeah, I think this code is a better version of this because first of all, what it is showing, map new. Just give me a sec. I think in this code, I have used the zooming in and zooming out. Yeah, I've used the map behavior. Okay, let's run this code instead of that. Yeah, I've used a marker. Okay, right. So these are the things that you can do. Okay, got it? That is the power of your Flask. Any queries here, guys? Okay, anything you want to ask? So that ends our Python course, right? And all the PPTs and codes, I'll upload it on the LMS. I'll send it to the support team. They'll upload it on LMS. So previous week I was not able to do that because things were in continuation, right? Now I'll be able to do that. Okay. Okay. Any queries you have, you can ask me, guys. This is the last session that we have actually. So because of I think 2 or 3 hours delay in the previous lecture, we had to extend the session by 1 or 2 lectures, right? And to teach you a few other concepts, I had to extend the lecture. So we have extended by 2.5 lecture actually, 2 lecture to be precise. Any queries? Okay then, guys, that will be all. Right? So if you have any queries in the future, you can simply drop a mail to the support team. Yes, yes, Neeraj, I'll. Okay, simply drop a mail, Neeraj, to the support team. Oh, okay, don't do that. Okay, do one thing. Uh, okay, I'm sharing my email ID, my work email ID. Right, drop a mail to me, Neeraj, for regarding your query. Right, and I'll send it to you the required resources and possibly the coding part also. Okay. So, okay, guys. So that will be all, and best of luck for the future endeavors. And let me know if you have any queries. You can drop a mail to the support team. You can connect with me on the LinkedIn. It's up to you. Right? Okay. And have a good learning and best of luck for the future. Signing off now, guys. Bye bye. Welcome, Neeraj. Thank you, guys. Bye bye.